Every great victory begins long before anyone sees it. It begins inside the mind, before a champion wins a championship, before an entrepreneur builds a successful company, before a leader inspires millions. They all make one important decision. They decide to think differently. Most people wake up expecting problems. They expect failure. They expect disappointment. They spend more time imagining everything that could go wrong than believing in what could go right. And because of that, their actions follow their thoughts. But winners operate differently. They don't ignore reality. They simply refuse to let fear control their future. When something goes wrong, they don't immediately ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they ask, "What can this situation teach me?" That small change in thinking creates a massive change in results. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes experience. Every setback becomes preparation for something greater. Remember this. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of confidence, discipline, gratitude, and possibility, your life will eventually reflect those thoughts. But if you constantly feed your mind with fear, negativity, and self-doubt, your life will begin to mirror those beliefs as well. You cannot build a winning life with a losing mindset. The life you want begins with the thoughts you choose today. Because every winner first learns to master their thinking before they ever master their success. The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Nobody hears it. Nobody applauds it. But it quietly shapes every decision you make. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'm not ready. I'm not smart enough. What if I fail?" Those thoughts may seem harmless, but over time, they become beliefs, and beliefs become actions. Winners understand that the voice inside their head must become their greatest coach, not their biggest critic. They replace negative questions with powerful ones. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What if I succeed?" Instead of saying, "I can't do this," they say, "I haven't mastered it yet." That one word, "yet," changes everything, because it reminds you that growth is always possible. Train yourself to speak with encouragement. Celebrate progress instead of demanding perfection. Correct yourself, but never destroy yourself. Remember, you become what you repeatedly tell yourself. If you speak like a winner, eventually you'll begin thinking like one. And once your thoughts begin to change, your entire life follows. Many people confuse confidence with being loud, but true confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to dominate every conversation. It doesn't need to prove its worth. It simply knows its value. Listen carefully to successful people. They don't rush their words. They pause. They think. Then they speak with clarity. Because confidence comes from preparation, not from pretending. If you want people to trust your words, start by speaking honestly. Avoid exaggeration. Avoid gossip. Avoid complaining. Every sentence you speak either builds your reputation or weakens it. People remember how you make them feel. When you speak with respect, others naturally respect you. When you remain calm under pressure, others begin to trust your leadership. You don't have to know every answer. You simply have to speak with sincerity. The strongest communicator isn't always the smartest person in the room. It's the person whose words match their actions. Speak less. Listen more. Choose your words carefully. Because powerful words create powerful opportunities. Your words reveal your mindset before your actions ever do. Listen carefully to people who constantly struggle. Many of them don't just have negative circumstances. They have negative language. They say, "Life isn't fair. I never get opportunities. People like me can't succeed. I'll probably fail anyway." At first, those words seem harmless. But every sentence becomes another brick in the identity they are building. The more they repeat those thoughts, the more they believe them. Winners speak differently, not because their lives are easier, but because they refuse to let problems define them. Instead of saying, "I have to do this," they say, "I get to do this." Instead of saying, "This is impossible," they ask, "How can I make it possible?" Notice the difference. One mindset searches for excuses. The other searches for solutions. Your vocabulary shapes your future. If you constantly complain, your mind becomes trained to find more problems. But if you constantly look for opportunities, your mind begins noticing possibilities everywhere. From today forward, remove words that weaken your confidence. Replace them with words that build responsibility. Because every powerful life begins with powerful language. Everything great is created twice. First, in your mind. Then, in reality. Every successful company, every invention, every championship, every masterpiece existed as an idea before it became real. That's why winners protect their imagination. They don't spend all day imagining failure. They imagine possibilities. They see themselves improving, growing, learning, leading. This isn't blind optimism. It's mental preparation. When your mind repeatedly sees success, your actions begin moving toward it. Of course you'll experience setbacks. Of course you'll make mistakes. But winners don't interpret failure as proof they're not good enough. They see it as feedback. Every obstacle becomes another lesson. Every lesson makes them stronger. Believe in your future before anyone else does. Because if you don't believe in your own vision, why should anyone else? Confidence begins with belief. And belief begins with the way you think every single day. The future belongs to people who can see possibilities long before the rest of the world notices them. One of the greatest signs of a true winner isn't how they speak about themselves. It's how they speak to others. Anyone can criticize. Anyone can complain. Anyone can point out mistakes. But very few people know how to inspire. Winners understand that words have power. One sentence can destroy someone's confidence. Another sentence can completely change their life. That's why they choose their words carefully. They don't speak just to sound intelligent. They speak to create hope, to create clarity, to create courage. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel stronger, not weaker. Speak with honesty. Speak with respect. And most importantly, speak with purpose. Before saying anything, ask yourself, will these words help someone grow? If the answer is yes, say them confidently. If not, silence is often the wiser choice. Remember, people may forget your face. They may forget your name. But they'll never forget how your words made them feel. Become someone whose voice gives people confidence, not fear. Because real leadership begins with the ability to lift others higher. Talking is easy. Planning is easy. Making announcements is easy. Action is rare. Many people spend years talking about the life they want. One day they'll start. One day they'll change. One day they'll become successful. But that day never comes. Winners understand something different. They don't waste energy trying to convince people. They let results do the talking. Every workout completed, every promise kept, every difficult task finished, becomes another vote for the person they are becoming. They don't need constant recognition. They don't need applause. Because they know the work done in silence eventually creates success that speaks for itself. Ask yourself this. If nobody could hear what you said, would your actions still tell people who you are? Would they see discipline? Would they see integrity? Would they see consistency? Your habits introduce you long before your words ever do. So stop trying to sound successful. Stop becoming successful. When your actions match your words, confidence becomes natural, respect becomes automatic, and success becomes inevitable. Everything you've ever wanted begins with one decision. The decision to change the way you think. The decision to change the way you speak. And finally, the decision to change the way you act. No one is born with a winner's mindset. It is built, one disciplined choice at a time, one positive thought at a time, one courageous conversation at a time, one difficult day at a time. There will always be people who doubt you, people who criticize you, people who tell you your dreams are too big. Let them talk. Your responsibility isn't to prove them wrong. Your responsibility is to become the person your future deserves. From this day forward, speak with confidence, think with purpose, walk with discipline, lead with humility, and never allow fear to become louder than your faith in yourself. Because one day, someone will ask, what changed? They'll notice your confidence, your peace, your success, your leadership. They'll think you discovered some secret, but you'll know the truth. You simply change the conversation inside your own mind. And once your thoughts change, your words changed. Once your words changed, your actions changed. And once your actions changed, your entire life changed. So every morning when you look in the mirror, remind yourself of one thing. I think like a winner. I speak like a winner. I act like a winner. And because of that, I will become one.